Okay, so moving along, type of shareable content you might want to create: graphics, graphics including quotes or events, infographics, various calls to action, and so we'll actually go over creating some of these graphics and tools you can use. Videos, every smartphone now, everybody can have a hand in this. Of course, there is some challenge sometimes with sort of quality when it comes to video, and so just pumping out video for the sake of it, I wouldn't recommend. You probably want to have a bit of a strategy here and make sure audio is good. There's nothing worse than trying to listen, you can't hear what's being said on a video or whatnot. So testimonials are great, and if you want to do some live streaming, just make sure you've read up a bit on some of the best practices when it comes to video, but absolutely great to start experimenting and using it on your campaign. And then creating templates wherever possible. So I find that, whenever I'm taking time to create a new graphic or whether that's an event or quote, I'm really thinking of the champions and how team members who are going to use this tool, and is there any way I can template it in a way that allows me to share it? Because if I'm going to take the time to set this up in the first place, it's a lot better if I can set it up in a way the first time that allows me to just give it to my team member and or a champion, or send it out and allows people to run with it. So I'll give some specific examples of what I mean by that in just a moment. Dave, before I move on to this tips and tools, any comments on what I just went through?
I would say that with the video thing, I'll give you a really, really quick example. So I was doing some work for Scott's Miracle-Gro. I don't know if anyone knows that brand, but maybe people, if they watch CP24, they know who Frankie Flowers is. And we did some Facebook Live videos for people to be able to ask home and garden and questions. And we had it in the office, and there was a meeting scheduled right up until about 15 minutes before we were supposed to go live on Facebook. Invitations had gone out, whatever. And we rushed in, we set up the whole room in about 10 minutes. We literally had perhaps 30 seconds to spare. And you could tell that it was harried and that people were rushed. But as long as it's all about that being human, right? And being relatable to people. We were transparent and said, hey, we're just throwing this together because we wanted to make ourselves available to you. So although I wouldn't encourage doing multiple versions of that, but I think if you are, again, your authentic self, saying you're trying this out, you're doing this because you want to reach out to people, more often than not, you're going to get a positive response.
Other tools, there are some great services like Google Drawings or Pablo. So for creating a graphic, let's just go over to the graphic that I circulated today. And so as you saw in the email you would have received this morning, it contained this graphic, and this graphic is created in Google Drawings. Okay, so we actually, first of all, the sort of structure of the graphic, it was created by somebody that knows how to use the Adobe suite, and they laid it out there. But then after that, we templated it and made sure that whoever has access to the internet can now create their own graphic, right? So just to give you a sense of how we laid this out, I'm just going to remove some of the elements, change text. And this is just like any Google document. You can see that you can edit the text. Oops. I'm just going to undo that, right? You could edit the images that you've got available. This document here, if we wanted to create a new document, let's take a look at an example here. You could go to New, and then see under More here, you can go to Google Drawings. Okay, so it's a little hidden, but it's here in the core Google suite of tools. You just go again to New, More, Google Drawings. And what I'd suggest there, you can, for example, if you wanted to create a new graphic here, you can, it's pretty easy to use. If we wanted to add, say, a new image, you could just replace this image and then it stays in the same format and whatnot. I'll actually make this template available to you so that you can play around with it afterwards. And again, here, your use of Google fonts and whatnot, Google has a huge number of fonts available. So if you, from the outset, when you're setting out your brand standards and whatnot, if you use Google Fonts, it integrates directly with the Google tools set, and there's tons of fonts to choose from. Pablo is another really cool tool. So if we take a look here, I'm just going to load this page. Pablo allows you to create a graphic, very, very simply. So for example, if we wanted to create a, let's say, cannabis amnesty graphic, which is a campaign that I mentioned previously, I'm going to take a look here at, say, adding a graphic that they've been using for their campaign. So you can add a custom background image, right? And then you could add your logo, which I don't have handy, and in the interest of time, just trust me that you can add your logo there. And then their tagline is "Righting History's Wrongs," and you can easily choose various filters, right, for the background image. You can choose templates input here, so you could change the type of template you're using. You can change the general format. You could have, say, just a caption, different sizes for your different platforms like Instagram. And there's a bunch of stock images that you could choose from that they provide if you're looking, and you can search those images. So if you want to share and download the image, it's easy to do here. It'll just download it to your machine, or you could share it directly on any of your platforms. So Pablo's a cool tool to use. And then in terms of other tools, as I mentioned previously, tools like TweetDeck or Facebook, you can schedule directly. So we use these with DemocracyKit. These are the tools we use to schedule our posts, or for Twitter, to schedule our tweets. So